Your choice reveals a pattern you repeat every time you try to move on, but still feel pulled backward, like a river looping around the same bend. Somewhere in you, the past is not just a story, it is a place you secretly keep visiting. These 5 rivers are not random scenery. They are mirrors for the way you hold on to memories, regrets, old versions of yourself, and old loves. In this Jungian test, we use simple symbols instead of heavy labels, so you can see how your unconscious is still swimming through yesterday, even while your mind insists it is already in tomorrow. Stay with me, because once you notice the pattern, you cannot unsee it, and that is where real change quietly begins. Now do not overthink it. Look at the 5 rivers in front of you, as if you are standing on their banks in real life. Notice which current your body leans toward first, which color or mood feels like home, even if you do not like what that says about you. Pick one river from 1 to 5. First impression is greater than logic. Stick with it. Your first pull is the language of the deeper self that speaks in images, not long explanations. Simply remember your number, hold it gently in your mind, and let the rest of the video unfold around that choice. At the end of this Jung test, I will bring your river together with a specific practical step so that this is not just an interesting idea, but a doorway into a different way of living with your past. You will hear the meaning of your number, the shadow it hides, and the gift it carries, and only in the final connection will it all click into place. Think of the whole video as a safe shoreline where you can finally watch your story flow by instead of being dragged under it, and by the time we finish, you will know one clear thing you can do next in the real world. If you chose option 1, this often happens when a big part of you wants a fresh chapter, but another part keeps walking back to the same old place to check if everything is still there. The sunlit forest river you picked is the river of nostalgia. It is warm, golden, familiar, almost like a childhood afternoon you never quite left. In Jungian language, this crown of light is your inner archetype of the caretaker, the one who remembers, protects, and holds on. The bright side is beautiful loyalty. You honor your story, you respect what shaped you, you do not throw people or memories away lightly. The shadow side is that you can end up standing guard over ruins, defending habits or relationships that exist more in your memory than in your present. Stay with me here because this is where you quietly shrink yourself to fit a past that no longer fits you. Imagine a simple day in your life. You wake up and before you even notice, your mind reruns an old scene, a conversation that went wrong, a breakup, a choice you still question. You replay what you should have said, what they should have done, how it might have turned out if you had been braver, kinder, louder, softer. Pay attention to this loop. Maybe you check the social media of someone you are supposed to be over, not because you want them back, but because letting the story fade feels like admitting it is truly over. Maybe you keep an item of clothing, a chat thread, a playlist, telling yourself it is not a big deal, while every glance at it quietly keeps part of you living in yesterday. Outwardly, you seem fine, productive, even cheerful. Inside, a piece of your energy is always walking upstream, against time, trying to fix what can only be accepted. In pop psychology terms, people might call this overthinking or rumination, but that label misses the tenderness under it. You are loyal to your own history. Your psyche treats certain moments like sacred altars that must not be disturbed. The river image shows how this works. Water is meant to flow, yet here it curls around mossy rocks, circling the same spots, shining beautifully, but never reaching the wider world. In your inner life, the moss-covered stones are old roles and identities that once kept you safe. The good child, the reliable friend, the partner who always forgives. These roles were your crown, your way of feeling worthy. Here is the quiet twist you rarely say out loud. Holding on to the past is also how you hold on to the version of you who was needed, chosen, important there. From a Jungian angle, the light in this scene is your conscious self, and the forest shadows are the parts of you that want to grow but feel guilty for wanting more. When new opportunities appear, a different job, a healthier relationship, a move to a new place, you often hesitate. You tell yourself you are not ready, that you must first make peace with everything behind you, that you cannot move forward until every loose end is perfectly tied. Yet life does not work like a movie, where every storyline is neatly resolved. Some people will never give you the apology you deserve. Some chapters will stay blurry. Your task is not to go back and rewrite them. Your task is to let the river carry you to a wider landscape, where those scenes are only one part of a much bigger picture. Notice how often you say things like, "I just need closure," or "I wish we could talk one more time," or "I keep thinking about that decision years later." You do this more than you realize. It keeps your power in the rearview mirror, like driving while staring only at what is behind you. The river you chose whispers a different possibility. Instead of asking, "Why did that happen to me?" you begin to ask, "Who am I now?" after it happened. Instead of shrinking to stay loyal to an old version of yourself, you allow that version to become a respected ancestor, not your current ruler. Today, choose one physical object that keeps you anchored to a past you are ready to outgrow, a chat you reread, a photo you always linger on, a gift that hurts more than it comforts, and spend 10 focused minutes deciding its fate. Either delete it, box it away, or move it out of your daily line of sight. And while you do it, say quietly, "I honor this part of my story, and I allow myself to keep moving." Set a timer, follow through completely, and then step outside or look out of a window for a moment, letting your eyes trace something alive and present. That small act is you, turning your face downstream, trusting that the same river that once held your pain is also capable of carrying you toward a future where you are finally allowed to grow to your full size. If you chose option 2, this usually appears when a smart, grounded part of you knows it is time to move forward, but another quieter part keeps pulling you back into what is familiar. This wide mountain river is the symbol of clarity. The water is bright, cold, almost sharp. It looks clean, decisive, like it already knows exactly where it is going. Stay with me, because this is how your mind likes to work too. You search for logic, maps, explanations. In Jungian language, your conscious persona is the strategist, the planner, the one who wants a clear view of the valley before taking a single step. But notice this. Even in this bright scene, the river still carries everything that falls into it. Old leaves, broken branches, pieces of yesterday. Your unconscious does something similar. It keeps carrying pieces of the past, even while you think you are heading somewhere new. Imagine a very simple day. You're at work or studying or dealing with your usual tasks. A new opportunity appears. Maybe a colleague suggests a project where you would be more visible. Maybe a friend invites you into a new social circle. Maybe an application tab is open on your computer for a course or job that would stretch you. For a moment, you feel that fresh river energy. You can almost see yourself in that new role. Here is the twist. Right after the excitement, an old memory wakes up. A time you were criticized for speaking up. A relationship where your success made someone jealous. A childhood scene where you were told not to be arrogant. Your body tightens before your mind notices. Suddenly, you are not thinking about what you want now. You are defending yourself against what happened then, so you tell yourself you need more time to think. You research a little more. You ask for more opinions. The opportunity floats away downstream, while you stand on the bank holding a folder of pros and cons you never actually use. From a pop psychology angle, someone might call this overthinking, but underneath it is a very loyal shadow. That shadow believes that if you analyze every move, you can avoid ever feeling blindsided or rejected again. You protect yourself with spreadsheets of what if. You replay conversations after they end, editing your own lines in your head. You say you value logic, and you do. But pay attention to this. Many of your so-called logical reasons are really fear wearing a neat professional outfit. You do this more often than you realize, especially in love and career. You stay halfway in, halfway out, telling yourself you are gathering data, when in truth you are postponing the moment of real choice. The river in your image is flowing no matter what. Your life is as well. Refusing to decide is still a decision. It is choosing to let the current drag the past forward with you. Here is what happens next when you start to see this pattern. You might feel a little grief for the chances you did not take. Let that be honest sadness, not another reason to punish yourself. In Jungian terms, you are beginning to integrate the part of you that longs for movement with the part that fears repeating old pain. Integration does not mean you suddenly stop thinking and leap into everything. It means you allow your feelings to sit at the table with your logic. It means that when a new possibility appears, You ask not only, is this safe, but also, does this matter to who I want to become? Your river becomes less about defense and more about direction. Today, choose one decision you have been circling and give yourself exactly 15 to 20 minutes to write down 3 concrete options and 1 clear next step. Then commit in writing to the step you will take within the next 24 hours and set a reminder for it before you close your notebook or your notes app, so that your mind does not quietly slide back into maybe later while the current of your life keeps moving on. If you chose 3, this often shows up when your heart is still living in a story that has technically ended but emotionally refuses to roll the credits. This autumn river is not random. It is the season of almost finished, when the leaves are bright but already falling, when you know change is here and yet part of you keeps trying to press pause. In simple Jungian language, this river reflects a pattern of hovering between past and future, wearing a persona that says, I am fine, and moving on while your shadow quietly clings to what used to be. You sense that something in you is ready to flow forward, but another part keeps walking back upstream to check if you left anything behind. Stay with me, because this in-between place is exactly where your power has been hiding. Think about how this looks in everyday life. A relationship ends, or a friendship fades, or you leave a job that shaped your identity. Months later, you still scroll through old photos, reread conversations, replay the exact moment when things changed. You tell people it is just curiosity, just closure, just wanting to understand, but pay attention to this. Your body tightens in the same way every time. You keep their number saved, their things in a box that you never open but never put away, their names sitting in your search history like a bookmark. You plan new routines and new connections, yet your evenings somehow circle back to the same songs, the same streets, the same if only thoughts that keep your heart walking loops instead of new paths. In the symbolism of this Jung test, the autumn river is a bridge between chapters, and you are the one standing on the rocks, watching instead of stepping in. Your persona here is the thoughtful one, the responsible one, the person who has to understand everything before they can release it. On the surface, that looks wise, but underneath there is a quiet avoidance. You postpone grieving by turning it into an endless analysis. You postpone risk by calling everything preparation. You shrink yourself by acting like the past is the only reference point life has given you. Here is the twist. The more you revisit what happened, the more your nervous system learns that the old story is still the safest place, even if it hurt. No wonder moving forward feels like betrayal. The shadow side of this pattern is that you secretly do not trust the river of life to bring something equally meaningful again. So you keep an internal museum of everything you have loved. Nothing is allowed to fully leave, and nothing new gets enough space to fully land. You might notice this at work when you keep using the same skills because they once made you successful, even when a fresh project asks for a different version of you. In relationships, you may compare new people to an old love so intensely that nobody stands a chance. You tell yourself you are just being careful, but you do this more often than you realize, and it quietly locks you into a smaller future than the one your soul is asking for. See what happens next when you imagine stepping into that river instead of just watching it. Flow means accepting that some questions stay unanswered and some endings are not neat. It means trusting that your value is not trapped in any past role or past romance or past version of you. In Jungian terms, individuation is simply this: allowing who you were to bless who you are becoming without needing the old story to keep running on repeat. You do not honor the past by freezing around it. You honor it by letting it become part of your roots instead of your chains. Today, choose one specific thread to release and give yourself 15 focused minutes to do it. Pick a single person, place, or chapter you keep circling. Write a short unsent letter, naming what you are grateful for and what hurt you. Read it out loud once, then delete it or tear it up and physically move one object linked to that story out of your daily space, so your body has a clear signal that this river is finally allowed to carry you downstream. If you chose 4, this often shows up when life feels like wild white water, and you keep telling yourself that if you just paddle harder, you can stop everything from crashing. This river is not calm, it is roaring, bright, almost too bright. Symbolically, It is the part of you that believes only constant effort keeps your world from falling apart. In Jungian language, your inner ruler archetype is on high alert. You feel responsible for outcomes, for other people's moods, for the future itself. The light side is powerful. You are the one who acts, who steps in, who holds things together when others freeze. The shadow is that you quietly believe that if you stop controlling, you will lose something precious: respect, love, position, safety. So you keep tightening your grip even when you are exhausted. Stay with me and picture this. You are at work or studying, and your day is already full. A colleague drops a last-minute task in your lap, or a family member calls with a problem they could probably solve themselves. Inside there is a flash of no. Your body feels it first, a small sinking in the stomach, a tightness in your jaw. But watch what happens next. Almost automatically you say, "Sure, I'll handle it," or "Yeah, I can do that," while your inner voice whispers, "I really don't have the energy." You stay late, you fix the crisis, and on the way home you replay the whole scene, wondering why you did not just say how you really felt. You tell yourself that it was easier this way, that it would have been awkward to refuse, that they needed you. Underneath, there is another truth, a fear that if you stop being the reliable one, people will step back from you. From a pop psychology angle, we might call this people-pleasing or overfunctioning, but that label is too small for what is happening. Your persona, the mask you show the world, is the dependable leader, the strong friend, the one who can handle chaos. Your Jungian shadow holds the tired, tender part of you that wants to put the backpack down and rest, the part that longs to be taken care of for once. You have learned to shrink that softer part, to push it into the dark in order to keep your image of strength intact. You may not admit it out loud, but you say yes more often than you truly want to, just to avoid the terror of being seen as selfish or weak. Notice this pattern in your relationships too. When conflict appears, you often try to calm everyone else instead of telling the full truth about your own feelings. You smooth over tension, make jokes, change the subject, or rush to fix things before anyone can sit in discomfort. It looks like maturity from the outside, but inside, you sometimes feel invisible. The more you manage everyone's storms, the less room you leave for your own. Here is a twist. The thing you are trying to protect, your value in other people's eyes, actually becomes more fragile when it depends on constant overgiving. See what happens next as you imagine a different way of standing in this river. In the language of symbolism, this river of rapids asks you to practice sacred boundaries. Water wants to move forward. It does not cling to every rock along the way. Integration here means letting your inner ruler share power with your inner guardian. The ruler wants to control. The guardian chooses when to step in and when to step back. You do not have to stop caring. You are allowed to care in a way that does not burn your inner kingdom down. Today, choose one situation where you have been hovering in a maybe and give a clear answer. It could be an invitation you keep postponing, a favor you do not truly want to offer, or a plan you secretly wish to accept. Take 10 minutes to send one message that contains a simple yes or no, without extra apologies or explanations. Then, after you hit send, sit with the discomfort instead of rushing to fix it. Let your nervous system learn that the world does not collapse when you honor your own limits. This is your small but royal act of courage, allowing the river to flow without you trying to hold every drop in your hands. If you chose 5, there is usually a quiet moment in your life when you feel the river of your story speeding up, and a part of you whispers, "I cannot keep doing this the same way." This green mountain river is the symbol of transformation that comes from within, not from drama but from steady courage. It winds through moss and stone, moving forward even when the valley is narrow. In simple Jungian language, this is the current of individuation, the path where you stop living as a side character in other people's narratives and begin to walk as the author of your own. The bright side of this choice is your capacity to grow through experience, to learn fast, to adapt to new landscapes. The shadow is that you often wait until the water is almost overflowing before you finally change a pattern, so you end up feeling pushed by life instead of guided by your own inner decision. Picture a very specific scene. You wake up and tell yourself that today will be different. You will not answer that message from the ex who only appears when they feel lonely. You will finally open the document for the project you keep postponing. You will say no to one extra demand at work so you can go home earlier and breathe. Then the day starts. People ask for quick favors. Your phone lights up with a familiar name. You say to yourself, "I will deal with this later," because you do not want conflict in the middle of your tasks. Hours pass. By evening you are tired and your mind wants comfort, so you slide back into the same chat, the same scrolling, the same late-night overthinking. You promise that next week you will really change. Here is the twist. Your soul already changed long ago. It is your habits that have not caught up yet. From a pop psychology point of view, someone could say you are avoiding discomfort, but the deeper pattern is more tender. You learned somewhere in your history that keeping the peace and staying predictable was safer than asking for what you truly want. Your persona became the reliable one, the flexible one, the person who can handle any mood and any crisis, the part of you that craves a different life. The artist, the adventurer, the lover of simple, quiet mornings, often gets pushed into the shadow and comes out only as sudden bursts of energy. You sign up for a new course, you plan a trip, you clear your room in one intense wave, then slowly drift back to old loops. Watch what happens next when you notice this without judgment. Instead of calling yourself lazy, you can see that your river is strong, but your banks are shaped by old beliefs about what you are allowed to want. You probably do this more often than you admit. You replay old conversations, imagining the version of you who spoke up earlier. You keep clothes, books, or digital photos from chapters that are clearly finished because throwing them away feels like erasing proof that you once belonged. You hold on to routines that no longer fit, simply because they helped you survive another time. Pay attention to this. The green river you chose is not about cutting everything off. It is about letting what is truly over finally flow downstream so fresh water can reach you. Your mini-climax arrives when you realize that letting go is not betrayal of the past. It is loyalty to the person the past was trying to help you become. Today, choose one concrete thing that represents an old chapter, and take one small but irreversible step with it. Delete the number that always pulls you backward. Unfriend or mute the account that keeps you stuck in comparison. Throw away the object that ties you to a version of yourself that is already done, or send the email that closes a loop. Do it within the next 20 minutes, so your mind has no space to negotiate you back into delay. Then step away from your screen or your room and notice the slight shock in your body. That feeling is your river changing course, a living sign that you are no longer waiting for life to push you. You are quietly choosing to move with your own current. No matter which river you chose, the soft sunrise stream, the glacier path, the autumn water, the stormy canyon, or the mossy green corridor, they are all pointing to the same quiet pattern beneath your life. You are not actually stuck in the past events themselves. You are bonded to the version of yourself that survived them. Stay with me here. In Jungian language, each river is an image of your personal myth, the story your unconscious repeats to keep you safe. You might cling to warm memories, analyze every tiny detail, replay regret, relive conflict, or hover between moving on and going back. But underneath every style lives the same hidden fear. If I fully let this go, will I lose who I am? In this simple Jungian test, the water is your emotional life and the landscape around it is your defense. Some rivers twist around old stones of guilt or what-if thoughts. Others rush forward so fast that you barely feel anything until you crash. Some flow through golden light that looks peaceful. But notice this, you keep walking back there in your mind whenever real change knocks on your door. The past becomes a familiar house where your shadow keeps living. The part of you that still feels angry, abandoned, ashamed, or secretly hopeful often waits there behind the persona you show to the world. You smile, you work, you say you are fine, while that inner figure keeps asking, are we ever going to finish this chapter? When you chose your river, you were really choosing a doorway into that unfinished room. The gentle forest stream shows a heart that comforts everyone else before it comforts itself. The bright blue valley shows a mind that tries to outrun grief with plans and logic. The autumn river reveals a soul that edits the past into a prettier story and then gets trapped inside it. The wild rapids speak of a warrior who only feels alive in crisis, so peace can feel strange. The green path points to a healer type who holds on to broken branches because they once gave shelter. Different images, same pattern, a deep loyalty to what you have already survived, even when it quietly hurts. From a pop psychology angle, Someone might label this rumination or avoidance, but that misses the symbolic truth. Your psyche has been using repetition as a ritual of protection. By rethinking, retelling, or re-entering the old scene, you are trying to make sure it never blindsides you again. Yet here is the twist. The very ritual that once kept you from breaking is now the thing that keeps you from crossing the bridge into your next season. The rivers in this test are not asking you to erase your story. They are inviting you to integrate it, to carry the wisdom without constantly reopening the wound. That is why the real test starts after this video, when you return to your normal evening, your chats, your favorite overthinking spot, and you notice yourself about to dive into the same mental replay. See what happens next if you pause for one breath and remember your river. In that pause, you are standing on the shore for the first time, not drowning inside the current. This is the moment where an old chapter can finally become a completed page instead of a loop. Today, choose one memory, situation, or person that you keep circling and give it a simple concrete container in the present. Write a short note, a few honest lines about what you learned, what you lost, and what you are ready to stop chasing. Then put it somewhere specific. A box, a folder, a photo frame. And tell yourself, this belongs to my story, but it no longer runs my life. Each time your mind reaches back, you can touch that container instead of reopening the scene, and little by little your inner river learns a new pattern, flowing forward while still honoring everything that brought you here. If you have come this far, it means some part of you is already tired of carrying the same old memories in the same old way, and is ready to do something gentler and braver with them. So before you rush back into noise and scrolling, just pause for one breath and listen to yourself. Leave your number in the comments and say which river your heart chose, and enter your name as if you are signing a quiet promise that you will stop treating your pain like a secret you have to handle alone. If this reading made you feel seen or gave you even one sentence you want to keep, like this so your mind remembers that what you felt here matters, and subscribe not for me, but for the future version of you who will need more of these small Jung-style check-ins to keep moving instead of circling. Let this be the moment you stop telling yourself that change is for later, and decide that this is already the first page of a different chapter. And when you are ready to keep walking that path, watch the next test on your screen right now and treat it as the next step in learning how to let the past stay behind you while you finally move with the river of your own life.